So are we looking at champion care as the state that would be the nomenclature that we would use for the state to identify pediatric care, correct? This is not just regional
Yeah,
hospice. In that case, we'd adopt it kind of for statewide pediatric palliative/hospice care.
right.
And so in doing, I mean, I think you've already hit on all the points, and I think it will come together nicely. The thought, I mean, what we're talking about is changing the narrative, right? What we're really talking about is changing the narrative of how we view hospice care for children in our state to provide them with resources that they can't otherwise obtain. Because we're not going to change the palliative care. And I think I asked that question almost rhetorically of like, if that doesn't change, then how do we really get these? Because the patients I think that Eileen is going to identify, the resources that families need is not, although pronouncement is incredibly important to me to avoid parents returning to the hospital, that is not their first concern of what their needs are, right? Their first concern is long before that, as we know. It's the relationship, it's having someone in the house helping make decisions about both directions of care and management of symptoms and all of those things. And that is truly as much palliative as it would be hospice, right? But it's really a vernacular of what we call it. But we really need to change the narrative so people understand what we're trying to do is provide resources for children that may portend towards end of life, but may just be in the moment until they graduate from hospice, which we know people can do. And that is, I think, using a different name, right? We are Sunflower Kids, not because we were trying to hide that we were the palliative care team, but because we wanted an identification that didn't remind people every time they said it that their child might be not doing as well as they hoped, right? So maintaining hope through a name change really does work for people because people don't want to be part of the Connecticut Children's Hospice team, but they kind of like being part of the Connecticut Children's Sunflower Kids team, right? And so, really, if we're looking at changing the name, we then need to change the narrative that goes with it. And that, I think, when you think about the timeline we have, what about coming together with, what about thinking about how we brand that, how you put that together, how that becomes a video statement that can go out to different places? How does that become something that people will recognize and understand that this is what we're moving towards in our state?